Often, viewing a film involves entering a world in which we have never been before for approximately 2 hours. Many times, when these 2 hours have elapsed, we feel like we've lived an entire life. How is it that we can enter this undiscovered country and become acclimated so quickly? The reason for this is that filmmakers understand the conventions of filmmaking and how to prepare you for the journey on which you are about to venture. One of the conventions a film manipulates is known as genre. Genre is yet another French word which simply means type or category. Genre in film is a pre-designed world in which you have a familiarity. With any of the particular types of world a film creates, there are a certain number of assumptions you can make about the world. There are certain expectations which arise as a result of being in this particular world. You settle into your seat to view a movie. As it begins, a number of titles are displayed on the screen. Behind the letters which make up the individuals who are involved in making the film, you can see a herd of cattle. You hear them mooing as they pass. You then see a couple of dust-covered men dressed in cowboy hats who are apparently driving the cattle. Then, you see a small frontier town which seems to be standing alone within the middle of a desert. Suddenly, you are transported inside a saloon, presumably one of the buildings in the small town. You hear a tinny piano play old music. There is hooting and gunfire. You can see a number of women in long skirts dancing. Have you ever been anywhere like this? Perhaps not in your own personal experience, but if you have been watching movies in America for any length of time, you know that you are in a Western. The Western has been one of the most popular genres in the United States since Edwin S. Porter made The Great Train Robbery in 1903. And it's one of many film genres. A genre is a film world that has certain identifying factors which allows the audience to make certain assumptions about that world. In the Western I just described, you can probably assume that the action will be organized around a simple moral value which will be tested during the next 2 hours. You can expect to see a showdown. That showdown will probably take place on the street in the middle of this small frontier town. Two scientists in a lab soberly discuss an event using scientific terms. Even though they are discussing the fact that someone from the future has just arrived, we don't dismiss their claims as preposterous. In fact, we firmly accept their conclusions. Why would we completely abandon what we have always believed to be possible? Because we have just entered into the genre of science fiction. We can name many genres of a film: the Western, science fiction, the musical, the spy thriller, the romantic comedy, the buddy film, the chick flick, and many more. Many times we identify the type of film we like by virtue of its genre. But how can we analyze a film with respect to its genre? Typically, there are 3 criteria we use to delineate a film into its proper genre. Those are the conventions of a particular genre, the genre's iconography, or significant icons used. A genre can also be identified by the core values it holds. Genre conventions refer to the aspects that we conventionally see in a specific genre. 2 cops with guns drawn, running from a building. One of them is making wisecracks while the other admonishes him. The building explodes. The 2 men are thrown to the ground. They both turn around and look at the burning building. The first man makes another wisecrack while the second man shakes his head in disgust. These types of activities are conventions you will find in a buddy film. A woman sits alone in a room. A man enters. They look at each other with longing. The man begins to sing to her about his feelings for her. She stands and returns these sentiments to him in song. They begin to harmonize. She runs to him. They begin to dance. You've never seen this happen before in your own personal experience, but you have seen it on screen. These are the conventions of the musical. A genre's iconography have to do with objects, images, and symbols you would find in the world of a particular genre. A Tommy gun, a money bag, a jail cell, an old Model T, bootleg liquor. These are all the icons of a gangster film. The cowboy is a significant icon of the Western. The UFO is a significant icon of the science fiction movie. A man or woman holding a knife is a significant icon of a flasher film. The top hat and cane can be associated with the musical. American filmgoers love a happy ending. We come from the tradition of melodrama, which we will discuss in the next section. And yet there is a genre which rarely has a happy ending, with which we are enamored: the horror film. Why is it that many Americans dislike a film like the classic Humphrey Bogart romance, Casablanca? Because the boy doesn't get the girl at the end of the picture, but can still love such movies as Halloween or Nightmare on Elm Street, neither of which end happily. It's because the core values which we expect from a horror film is different from the core values we expect from a romance. The core values each genre holds allows us to expect a certain code of behavior. In the old Westerns, the character spoke of the code of the West. We expect the central character in a Western to hold on to this simple, straightforward moral outlook. He can go through any dilemma and will come out all right as long as he holds on to this moral code. It even justifies him killing another human being without paying any consequences. In a romantic comedy, the central character, who is engaged to a handsome, rich man, falls in love with another man. Because it goes against the core values of romantic comedy, she can't do anything to consummate this love. Fortunately, one of the conventions of romantic comedy is that the handsome rich man is ultimately unfaithful to the central character, which, in the world of romantic comedy, frees the central character from her obligation. This highly moralistic nature of American genres has been developing since the 19th century, with a genre of stage play referred to as the melodrama. Within this genre, the nature of American culture and attitudes can be defined. In fact, we can see how all popular film genres are derived from melodrama. But that's a subject for the next section. We'll see you then.